Good evening. I'd like to call to order the school board meeting of June 15, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Ms. Steffi, can we have a roll call, please?
Dr. Delwich?
Here.
Mr. Kanan?
Here.
Ms. Lambing? Ms. Polsky?
Here.
Mr. Prokopiak?
Here.
Mr. Sanderson?
Here.
Dr. Steer?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Waldorf?
Present.
Mr. Kubler? Mr. Massengill? 8 members present.
Thank you, Ms. Steffi. So this is the last meeting of the school year. Typically, we don't have a meeting in July, but this year we're going to have one on July 13th because we need to take care of a few things. We did meet an executive session before this and a work session 2 weeks ago to work through some legal and personal matters. Just recently, we had a wonderful graduation at the Cure Insurance Arena. It was I think the first time we were doing it there. It went very well, and good luck to all the seniors. When I look to the agenda, there's many important things, but 2 key items are related to the budget, which in a way sets the stage for what we want to do with the high school, and also next steps related to Morrisville. But let's start with some recognition. So we'll start with the Lift Character Awards. Mr. Sanderson.
Thank you, Mr. Kanan. Thank you, everyone. This month's asset for a character award is citizenship. The young person understands that they are a part of a larger community in which they play an integral part. They are responsible members of their community. They assume duties and fulfill obligations to support the community as a whole and can function equally well as a leader or supportive follower. They demonstrate respect for institutions and for the right of others, but also feel pride in being a member of the community. Can we have our awardees come up to the front table, please?
Congratulations to Daniel Jimikowski, Ryan Minez, Caden Winton, and Nina Evan. Daniel Jimikowski is a 5th grader at Manor Elementary School and was nominated by Megan Edison, Katie Jones, Christian Jimikowski. They share that Daniel is responsible, honest, courteous, and demonstrates good citizenship on a daily basis. He consistently asks how he can help his fellow peers and often takes leadership role during cooperative learning opportunities. Daniel volunteers his free time to assist Mrs. Edison in the library. He sets an example for his classmates by demonstrating his respect for library materials and shows others how this affects the school community. Daniel is a Manor ambassador, a member of Manor's Elementary National Honor Society, and a Salvation Army volunteer. His nominators say Daniel is positively refreshing. It's clear that he genuinely enjoys helping others. Congratulations, Daniel. Ryan Minez is a 5th grader at Penn Valley Elementary School and was nominated by Arlene Johnson, Ann Osborne, Marty O'Donnell. They say that Ryan is a role model for his peers. He serves as a school safety and comes to school early to cover his post. When he enters the building, he offers cheerful greetings to everyone he encounters. During Penn Valley Armed Services Day celebration, Ryan gave up time to at recess to learn how to properly fold the American flag so it could be presented to a veteran. Ryan is a shining example of respectfulness, responsibility, leadership, citizenship. Congratulations, Ryan.
Caden Winton is a fifth grader at Fallsington Elementary School. He was nominated by Rhonda Lewis, Joey Cole, Megan Malk, Debbie Helmuth, Allison Blaney, Kristen Cahill, and Vinnie DePaula. Caden demonstrates citizenship in the classroom by taking other students under his wing and helping them to grow. He's always the first person to volunteer to help, both inside and outside the classroom. He accepts duties and fulfills obligations to support everyone as a group. He functions equally well as a leader or as a supportive follower. Caden follows Paul Pride, is a school safety, and takes pride in setting positive examples for others. Caden is a responsible and active citizen of the Fallsington Elementary School community. Congratulations, Caden. Nina Evan is a 10th grader at Pennsbury High School and was nominated by Andrea Garbarina. She shares that Nina is a civic-minded leader. She is extremely respectful of herself and others in her classes. She values the opinions of others and elicits input from everyone with whom she works. Nina became actively involved in her school community by joining drama and working hard on decorating and completing pre-prom work with other volunteers. She's also a leader in her local community by participating in Girl Scouts. Congratulations, Nina. And congratulations to all this month's award winners.
Mr. Kanan, if I could say a few words. Congratulations to our student winners this month, and we are very proud of all our winners for this year. It is always a pleasure to see many of our students exemplify the traits we celebrate each month. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who makes the Character Award possible. The work behind these awards is nothing short of amazing. On the administrative side, the building staff, the principals who identify the students and prepare the nomination forms, to Jen Neal's office and Macy, who basically organized the process. I would like to thank the administration for that. Next, I would like to acknowledge the Congregation of Faith Presbyterian Church, who sponsor the awards and present the gift certificates to the awardees. In particular, I would like to recognize Vince and Mary Cacciatore, who come to each month to present the awards to our students. Please convey to the entire congregation our appreciation for your generosity and willingness to support and celebrate the accomplishments of our students. Lastly, I would like to recognize Tim Philpott for all he has done over the years to support the Character Awards in our school district. Tim organizes the judging process for the nomination and prepares the write-ups each month. Tim has recently informed me that he is moving on and is no longer going to be able to help us with the Character Awards. Tim is certainly no stranger to Pennsbury, as he worked with Pennsbury in his role with the county and United Way. He was involved in LIFT since its conception and helped the district attain its District of Character. During its lifespan, LIFT received almost $1.5 million of grants to help with risk prevention for our students. During that time, Tim helped guide the coalition to effectively and positively impact our students. LIFT had many friends while the grant money was there, but when the grants went away, so did they, except for Tim. Even with nothing in it for him any longer, Tim continued to serve the students of Pennsbury community. I want to thank Tim for all he has done for the district over the years as being a part of the Pennsbury community. We will truly miss him and his dedication. I wish him the best in future endeavors, and I want him to know that Pennsbury is grateful that he was a part of our district. Thank you.
All right, the next recognition is Pennsbury Odyssey of the Mind. Mrs. M&M.
We're going to take the microphone out so we can use it, okay? All right, we ready? Good evening, Dr. Smith, Mr. Kanan, members of the administration and school board. We are actually super excited to be here this evening to recognize our Odyssey of the Mind program. And in just a couple minutes, you're going to hear from some members of the Quarry Hill and Afton team who actually made it to the world competition this year. So just a little bit about Odyssey of the Mind. It is an international problem-solving competition. And I think this year the theme was STEAM, right? So all of the problems had to do with the topic of STEAM. And we were fortunate again this year to have a lot of success with the program. We had over 100 students within the district participate. It spanned over 12 of our schools. We had 13 teams, and out of those 13 teams, we had one primary team. So they will go to regionals and they will compete, but it's not a competitive time for them. So that we have 12 teams that competed at Division 1, 2, and 3. Out of those 12 teams, we had 7 of those teams advance to the state tournament, which means you had to finish either first or second in order to go on to the state tournament, which you guys did, right? Out of those 7 teams, this is a combination team of Quarry Hill and Afton students. You guys placed second, right, at the state competition, so they headed off to Worlds. The 6 other Pennsbury teams that we had all finished within the top 10, which is another success for us. And then I heard, right, that you guys, and you're going to tell a little bit about it, that you finished 10th at the world competition. That is a huge success, right? So we are here to celebrate not only this team, right, but the program, and we just want to thank the administration and the school board for their continued support of Odyssey of the Mind. Rich Fox, who is our POMA president, he couldn't be here this evening, he's traveling, but he is a huge reason why this program is so successful. He has an amazing POMA board that he works with, and he really has just continued to grow this program and really provide so many of our kids with this opportunity to participate in this the problem-solving competition. So they all wanted to just tell a little bit about their World experience. So I asked them just to quickly state their name and then tell one thing about Worlds. How's that? You want to start?
I guess.
All right.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Braverman. It was just an amazing experience. I thought it would just be like something fun for a few months, and I wouldn't even go to states. And then I went to Worlds, and it was just amazing, and I got top 10 out of about 1,000 teams that did our team's problem and our team's division, which is just amazing that it's top 1%. I was not expecting that. I would like to thank Dr. Smith and all of Pennsbury for raising money and supporting us through this OM journey.
Odyssey of the Mind, hi, I'm Akira. Odyssey of the Mind was awesome. In regionals, I was the one who got to hold the trophy, and I learned how to make costume out of scrap. And some also good moments were like, in Worlds I got to go in the parade, and I made more friends, and one of them was pin trading. Oh, hint, I got a peacock. And I'm gonna do it again, and we got top 10 in world finals. We're gonna do it again. Anyone wanna join, come in.
Hello, my name is Sirat Kaur, and my Odyssey of the Mind experience was amazing. First, I was very happy that we won regionals and first place medal, a gold medal. I was really excited because that was the first gold medal I've ever had, and I was also excited when we got second place in worlds, in states, and in worlds I was really excited that we got 10th place, and we were only 4 away from becoming top 6. And I had a lot of fun pin trading, and I'm going to do it again next year. And I'm glad that Omer is there for me peeking out that trash can pin.
I am Swap Patel, and I think I liked that we went to the state finals and the world finals. And we also create a lot of stuff that was made from boxes and cardboard. And we also, I was pin trading, and I wanted to do it again because I got a lot of dragons.
Hi, I am Divisha Pelajani. I really like Odyssey because it's just when you can stay creative, have fun. It was really fun, and I want to do it next year, especially pin trading. A lot of fun.
Hello, my name is Kellen Corley, and I really enjoyed the Odyssey of the Mind program. I never thought I would just be doing this random play with a bunch of cardboard and then just showing it to a bunch of adults thinking they'd like it. But when we made it past regionals with the first place trophy, I couldn't imagine that would ever happen before. Next thing I know, we're off to states and then to worlds, and then I had the time of my life. It was really amazing. I mean, who just gets to randomly travel to Michigan to do this weird play? So I really enjoyed this, and it was a lot of fun.
Donna, can you ask what grades they're in? Donna, can you tell us what grades they're in?
I was in 5th this year, and I'm moving on to 6th.
3rd, I'm moving on to 4th.
I was in Mrs. Snyder's class, 3rd grade, and I'm moving on to 4th.
I'm in 3rd, I'm going to 4th.
I'm in 3rd, I'm going to 4th.
5th going to 6th.
Hi, so I'm Karan Dhundi. I was the coach of these wonderful young kids, as you heard, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. I think back in October, no idea what was going to happen. In fact, funny story, quick story is Odyssey of the Mind, I didn't know anything about it. And my wife, Nancy, is here. She just one day told me, hey, I signed you up for OM coach. I'm like, what is that? What is that? She's like, I think you'll like it. You know what? I said, okay, fine. I mean, I can't win the battle anyways, so I'll go for it. It was a humbling experience, very gratifying. I think watching these kids go from where they were to where they went was nothing short of magical. And I talked to my colleagues at work and such, and only certain schools help and support these kinds of programs. So I think it's a great thing that Pennsbury is doing. So thank you so much.
I think Dr. Smith had a question about the peacock. Did you have a question about the peacock?
I was just wondering if it was a live peacock. No, okay. Oh, a pin. Okay.
Did we design a pin?
To say it's,
Did we design a pin? We like our teams or no?
No.
No, Mrs. Palsky?
I just wanted to say it's, one thing is for sure, the Odyssey of the Mind has developed some very proud and confident public speakers.
Absolutely. Thank you again for your support and letting us be here tonight to recognize these awesome kids. Thanks.
Congratulations. All right, next is the recognition of Michelle Spack. Dr. Smith.
Sure. Before I do that, while Donna is leaving, I'd like to embarrass Donna M&M for a second, Donna M&M will be leaving us also in August. So thank you for your years of service. And I think, Jen, she has the record for the most number of likes and reshares on our Facebook page. So thank But Donna, thank you for everything. Thank you for all your service. We put together a proclamation for the board this evening. We've entitled this the Month of Michelle, recognizing Michelle for all of her good work in the district. But you will never come across a person who is more student-centered and more focused on ensuring that all students, underscoring all students, have opportunities to succeed in our schools. And that's really been a testament to Michelle, and literally in meetings as late as today, pushing us forward to ensure that we are doing everything we can to support our students. So thank you, Michelle, for all of your hard work. So.
Dr. Chair?
I have the honor of reading the proclamation honoring Ms. Michelle Spack. The Pennsbury Board of Directors is proud to honor Ms. Michelle Spack upon her retirement in celebration of her career of outstanding service and commitment to the Pennsbury School District. And whereas Ms. Michelle Spack has served as a teacher, principal, and director of elementary education in the Pennsbury School District for 32 years, and whereas she has worked tirelessly to cultivate a strong and supportive environment that advances teaching and learning, and forged positive and supportive relationships with community members and other organizations to ensure all students receive the quality education they deserve. Under her passionate leadership, she worked to ensure that all students were provided the opportunity to thrive and succeed. And whereas throughout her tenure, Ms. Spack has served as an excellent example to colleagues, teachers, and administrators alike, inspiring them all with her tireless advocacy for the best interests of the students and the future of Pennsbury School District. And whereas upon Ms. Spack's retirement, she can be proud of the tremendous impact she has had, for her legacy will continue to resonate not only within the walls of our elementary schools, but also within the minds of students, parents, teachers, and alumni throughout Pennsbury. She has enriched our district with her service, and she is worthy of the esteem of all district staff members. Now, therefore, be it known that the Pennsbury School District gratefully honors Ms. Michelle Spack.
Thank you, Joanna. Good evening, Dr. Smith and board members. If I may, I'd like to say a few words. First of all, thank you for those really kind words this evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and continued support. I have cherished my time in the district, and I am grateful for the privilege of serving students, staff, and families of the Pennsbury School District. I was hired as a long-term substitute in the fall of 1991 after relocating with my husband, Gary, from Phoenix, Arizona to Bucks County. I received my contract the following year. I was so fortunate to land at Eleanor Roosevelt, where I served as a teacher at both 3rd and 5th grades. Under the leadership of Denny Lau, I was able to become fully involved in the Pennsbury School District, serving on many district, school-wide, and district committees. In 1998, I made the leap of faith and became an administrative intern serving Quarry Hill and Oxford Valley elementary schools. I had two amazing mentors in Dr. Bruce Johnson and Mrs. Sandy Boker. I truly learned a great deal from both of them. In my final year as an intern, I was assigned as an intern in special education and worked closely with Dr. Rich Dalton. And I first met our now director of special education, Regina Roush, who was a teacher. She was a passionate teacher, and she is a passionate director. All of these mentors helped me prepare me for becoming a building leader. In 2001, Ralph Nuzzolo appointed me to Edgewood Elementary School, where I found a home for the next 16 years. In my first 7 days, I was navigating a national crisis with the events of 9/11. There are no textbooks that prepare you for that. Edgewood truly was my home away from home. I often joke that I spent more time at Edgewood than I did in my own home. Here is where I developed lifelong relationships with the staff, students, and community, many of whom are still a part of my life. While at Edgewood, I piloted a special extra K program to test the waters of the benefit of a full day K program. I was an advocate to bring back our autistic support programs and build a truly inclusive school that continues to this day. I was part of the full-day research committee with Dr. Patricia Johnson and then Dr. Dunar. I have served as an administrative liaison for the report card committee, curriculum renewal, comprehensive planning, and countless other district initiatives. In 2016, Dr. Kazzola came to the Pennsbury School District as our superintendent and decided to reorganize and restructure our central office that included adding a director of elementary education. At the urging of some of my colleagues, I applied and was appointed as the director, and I have loved every opportunity to work with 10 amazing elementary principals and getting to know 10 unique and amazing communities of learners, staff, and families. I've also grown and have valued working with cabinet and collaborating with everyone to make sure that all of our students feel valued and known, and that our work continues to make a difference in the lives of our students. One of the greatest highlights of my 6.5 years at Central Office was the addition of the elementary STEM program called Spark. STEM has allowed us to bring the 21st century skills of communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity to all of our students, and not just an opportunity for some of our students to have in an after-school enrichment program. This has truly changed the landscape of the elementary level with a program that promotes the engineering design process and a positive growth mindset. I also took on the elementary homework with Stephanie Holquist, the principal of Edgewood, and with the support of Dr. Smith. And we researched homework at the elementary level, and it resulted in two key takeaways. Homework should never be graded and should never be punitive. I've also had the opportunity to be part of comprehensive planning and school start time, and of course, and perhaps ending my career with the pandemic and the challenges that followed. However, because we were fortunate to have received ESSER funds, we were able to implement new and comprehensive math and reading programs, which supported and helped to close those gaps for our students. We also were able to implement, and this year will be our 3rd year, to provide elementary summer school for our students who are struggling and still need a little additional support. I am grateful for my career in Pennsbury, and I never imagined that I would have landed in such a wonderful district where I was given such incredible opportunities. I will miss the daily interactions with students, staff, and families. Pennsbury is filled with incredibly hardworking individuals and dedicated leaders that will continue to make Pennsbury the most innovative and creative place to learn and grow. I also want to thank Dr. Smith supporting my work these past 2 years, and Dr. Ricci. Dr. Ricci and I have worked together for many years at Edgewood, and then my students fed to Charles Bame, and we have developed a wonderful relationship. I have valued her as a thought partner, collaborator, and incredible leader who believes that all of our students are capable of great things. Again, I am truly grateful for all the amazing opportunities in the Pennsbury School District. Many of you know that I came from Western Pennsylvania. My parents had high school educations, and I never dreamed that I would have such an amazing opportunity. So thank you all very much.
I think he has a folder or something.
Yeah, well, Lois hasn't signed it. Is the folder? Oh, yeah.
Next, we move on to the report section. We don't have any students. The school is finished. So, Dr. Smith, going to kick it off?
All righty. So my report is actually two parts. We're going to give a brief review of where we are in the budget process. This evening, the board is asked to vote on the budget to move us forward. That is a critical budget for us as we have discussions about a change to the high school campus. Mr. Burdnick is not with us this evening. He's with our debate team in Arizona. And just a real quick shout out, Amanda Q is in the finals tomorrow morning. So Chris is there, so I'm pretty excited, the national finals. So Chris will be back next week, but in his stead is Kimberly Steffi, who is our assistant business administrator, who's going to walk us through our budget presentation. So tonight we're talking about Pennsbury and the budget. So I'll just lead off this part and just reminding folks what makes Pennsbury unique. As Michelle Speck mentioned, it truly is a special place, and we have a number of traditions. We have neighborhood elementary schools, which a lot of folks talk about, and having worked in a district with elementary schools with 900 plus students, there's something special about having neighborhood schools. So I think that's important for us to remember. Principals get to know the kids, we get to know their families in a smaller neighborhood school. We have small class sizes. We have a lot of programs and opportunities for student success, which we're very proud about. I got to audit on several occasions in a program at our high school that's incredibly unique, our STEM guitar building class, where students built guitars from scratch, which was very cool. Other high schools don't have that. All of our programs really significantly exceed our state minimums, and we have really strong teachers that are highly experienced. So in terms of measuring success, we provide a challenging, consistent curriculum. We really have opportunities for all students, regardless of their pathway after high school. Something that we do and we put into place, Dr. Ritchie and I sit down with recent graduates every winter break and talk about their experiences at our high school and how we can grow. We look at our college acceptances. We have an incredible amount of co- and extracurricular programs for our students. Obviously, we look at our SATs and ACT scores. We look at the number and quality of our advanced placement offerings and our PSSA scores. So in terms of the taxpayer in our community, we look at our return on investment, and overall, we have an A rating from niche.com. Our athletic programs have an A+ rating. We have 88 competitive athletic programs for students 6 through 12, an award-winning music program, over 100 extracurricular clubs, enrichment opportunities, an award-winning business office, competitively ranked in U.S. News and World Report's Newsweek, Niche, and Great Schools, and other rankings. Something we're particularly proud of, although we're shooting for number one, is our PHS in the Act 13 building score. We were the number 3 high school in the county. Of course, we're shooting for number 1. And, these discussions about school budget are never easy, but there is a strong correlation between the money spent on school and home values and the impact on schools. So I just wanted to thank the board for doing that. So each year we begin a process, and Mr. Burdnick leads it, evaluating our programs and staffing using district goals. We make adjustments based on that. We allocate dollars for fixed and increasing expenses. Obviously, with inflation this year, we've had to experience some increases. We do a complete line-by-line budget review, and we look at everything that we're doing. We look at our major expenses. We look at our professional development, and we plan for the future, and that's a lot of work. We do one expense that you'll see on tonight's agenda is our Chromebook expenditures. We made a decision to move away from a lease due to the interest rates and move to purchasing them, but that was something we put in place this year, was a process to refresh our Chromebooks because they have a finite life period, and ensuring that we are planning for that in the future. I can take it. Do you want to kick it here? I'll keep going.
No, I can do it.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so just a quick summary of the 23-24 budget. Expenditure increase of 4.07%. That includes, as Dr. Smith said, transition from leases to technology purchases. It funds meet and discuss compensation plans with our Pennsbury administrators. That agreement was approved in May, and first level supervisors, which was approved in April. A 4.1% tax increase, which is an average of $177 per homestead. That's a down payment on either renovating Pennsbury High School West or constructing a brand new high school. Both of those scenarios call for a 4.1% increase for the 23-24 school year. Long-term strategy includes annual contribution to the Capital Reserve Fund to reduce the reliance on bond issues as we start renovations on Edgewood and Fallsington in about 5 years. Okay, and just the key changes from current year into next year. Salaries and benefits increase $5.7 million. That's a result of contractual increases and 4.4% increase in medical and pharmacy. Principal and interest increase $1.3 million. That includes about $1 million for the Series 2023 bond. As Dr. Smith mentioned, technology replacement equipment at almost $1 million as we shift away from leasing into purchases. Tech school tuition increase of $637,000. That includes the new bond issue, which accounts for about $600,000 of that. Medical access equipment, that's right around $600,000. That includes 3 lift buses, which are on the agenda for approval tonight. And then sizable increases in electricity, diesel, and also some additional special ed curriculum. And then I believe you wanted to talk about the high school?
If you want to go for it.
No, go.
So one of the big topics of conversation is the connection with the budget is really the future of the high school and looking at where that project will land. Again, I want to underscore no decision has been made, but this budget lays the groundwork for our discussions moving forward. So we're looking at, obviously, here's our campus now, East and West campuses. In really all of our scenarios, we're looking at demolishing East and moving that, moving all our buses there. So that would basically be a bus depot for that space. One of the scenarios that's, this obviously, this predates me, but it was an addition, several additions onto West, including a larger auditorium space, renovating the gymnasium, a 9th grade center addition, and renovating that existing several spaces with that. Interesting side note is we've been meeting with groups of students, and our 9th grade students don't support a 9th grade center, whereas we as adults feel that's totally necessary. The students they actually pushed back in terms of only being amongst 9th grade students with that. So again, more discussions will go forward, but it was just an interesting thing. So again, sample design, sample design, sample design. This was a school that we found recently constructed with that. But that's another scenario is rather than building on to West, we would tear down West, tear down East, and build new. The theory behind this is by building new, you do it once right instead of adding yet another addition onto West, which is already a poorly designed structure. And this will allow us basically about 20 years of maintenance-free life without having to do anything into a new high school. Allows us to start from scratch and really build a contemporary structure that's reflective of today's needs with that. And, with that, we would have to move sports fields, but that's longer term in the discussion. So this has been presented regularly, but going back between 3,100 students, which would incorporate students potentially from Morrisville, versus building a space of 2,800 students. If we do not pursue a merger or tuition agreement with Morrisville, we would focus on a space of 2,800 students, and you can see the delta between those two. But looking at, you know, an interesting side note of this is to build an addition for on the existing structure, you know, we would have to build additional space onto that. So you're looking at, you know, we could actually build a more efficient building for the money. But looking at a new budget for 2,800 students, somewhere at 420,000 square feet versus 465,000 square feet for 3,100 students. The total, as you probably heard and we've discussed in the past, of the delta between renovating West is $166 million versus $213 million for construction of a new space with that. So again, tentative timeline, all of our students left, but really we're focusing on, this is a project to support students in 4th and 5th grade, really, now looking that far, maybe 6th grade, depending on when this all comes through, but with an end of somewhere in the winter of 2029. But that really means we would start this summer in terms of the work, and next fall, putting out an RFP for an architect design, assembling a design committee, school visits, community presentations, opening up our spaces for our community to look at our existing space, going out to visit other spaces of newly constructed schools around, and then construction starting in summer of 2025. So I know that this was a topic of discussion in the past in terms of our remaining borrowing capacity. This way that the debt is structured, as Ms. Steffi said, that we are looking at, you know, our work in our other schools does not end. We get through the high school project, we're still looking at taking care of Edgewood, which definitely needs to be taken care of. If we were just to build a renovation onto West, we would still need to plan for the other parts of West that would need to be renovated going forward. So that would need to be worked out in our 20-year plan. A question that we've gotten of what does the high school encompass? So there's different parts of this, and let me just go back for a second. There's a question, and this would be a question for a committee and the board to discuss, of a pool or a natatorium, of what that would be. So right now in our 20-year plan, there are monies to renovate the current pool in the natatorium in about 3 years, I think it is. But looking at where we are, if we were to build new construction, would we build a new pool as part of that? So that's open for discussion. The natatorium renovation currently, I think, is about $2.3 million. I think we have it. Constructing a brand new natatorium is about $8 million. So that plays into it. So major milestones in our budget process. Kimmy, this brings us to the end of our budget process. The board has submitted for the board's approval is the final budget. This was reviewed on April 20th. I sent out a letter to the community about 2 weeks ago with some links to all the budget information and inviting them actually to tonight's presentation. So Kimmy, I don't know if you have anything to add.
No, I'll just, if you want to go back a couple slides, there's just like a few things I wanted to highlight.
How far?
I wanted you to go to here.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so just a couple things to highlight with either scenario, the renovate or the new build. The tax increases for the next 3 years are at the Act 1 limit. If for some reason we don't meet those, if the Act 1 projections don't hold true, the increases in the latter years will have to be slightly higher. But both scenarios call for Act 1 increases for the next 3 years, as well as sizable transfers to the capital plan.
And then they drop off.
And then they drop off. Yep.
So I'm going to transition into just a general kind of end of the year wrap up on some of our district areas of focus. So I want to pause for a second if the board has any questions about where we are in terms of budget or the budget process.
Not the budget, Dr. Smith, but the high school. At what point will we have to decide on the number of students? Is it 2,800, 2,900, something else?
Well, that hinges really basically on whether the board wants to move forward with Morrisville. If the
Sure.
board chooses not to move forward with Morrisville at this point, we will move forward with constructing a building for 2,800 students.
And 10 years from now, if that changes, we just add on.
You could add on potentially, correct.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is there a reason that we're not pursuing a referendum to fund the high school?
Kimmy, do you want to answer that, or?
I think it wasn't necessary.
Correct. Because we can do it within our budgeting and our.
But there are some advantages to having a referendum. For instance, like we wouldn't be as close to our debt limit because any debt that is approved via referendum by the voters is not included in the debt limit. Is that correct?
Correct.
So one of the issues that I think there is, and Mr. Burdick talked to last time, is that we're going to be close to our debt limit and really hamstring ourselves, where a referendum would allow us to not have that situation, and we would give ourselves more flexibility.
Correct. However, a referendum can be done at any point if necessary. All right.
And just the Act 1 projections that were used, actually, the ones that we used, I guess, at the beginning of the year, they were revised downward a little bit, weren't they? And I'm just worried in the future that we're going to have that same situation. I think we're showing a 5% next year, and yet I think that we see year-over-year inflation on the CPI and the PPI and all those types of, all the whatever PIs, is coming in down consistently, which will impact that number, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And so those numbers may not be, in fact.
And that's why I had, just mentioned that if the Act 1 doesn't hold true, those increases in the latter years will have to be a little more, will have to be higher.
Any other budget questions? All right, so I'll just take a side note and just wrap up our areas of focus, a progress report for you as we ended the year. As we've discussed monthly, actually, we set out 5 areas of focus as a school district. These are actually kind of morph into our comprehensive plan, which we'll talk about, but looking at instruction, data, climate and culture, facilities, and sustainability. You'll see that equity, really, we've made the decision to really intertwine that through everything we do in our decisions. So instruction, highlighting some of the work of Ms. Speck and Dr. Ritchie. We started classroom walkthroughs by all administrators and having our administrators visit our classrooms and have really deep discussions about what is effective instruction in our districts. And we really work to define what effective instruction is. And really looking at the components of what effective instruction is so we can share those with staff. So moving forward, we've done a lot of work with this. Our goal now is to really ensure that staff know what our expectations are. Innovation is another part about that as Ms. Beck said, being proud that Pennsbury is innovative in our instruction, we've worked with professional learning partnerships to develop a staff think tank and really focus on those staff members who are doing great things and encourage them and support them as they try to improve instruction for all of our students. And something we're really proud of is a 5-stage curriculum review cycle. So all of our curricula will be reviewed on a regular basis so it won't become stagnant. Data, there's a lot of work we've done here is really begin work to analyze our student data. We've started presenting this information to staff members and looking at some of our disparities and the why behind some of those disparities, trying to be consistent. We really identified a need to ensure that when I talk about consistency, is sending a clear message to how things are coded in our system, and we call that data governance. And actually part of this is in our restructure of current administrative staff is putting in a position for data assessment and accountability to moving forward, that we're reliant so heavily on student data, making sure that it is accurate. Part of this is our MTSS program, and we've really made some significant strides on this. And I have to say that I think it's resulting in some significant decreases in referrals to special education. We're still kind of hashing out the numbers, but right now we're seeing a significant increase in the number of students referred to special education for this school year. As you know, we've been struggling with our percentage of students who are classified, and we've made some great strides, so we're pretty happy about that. We also looked at, and this is one of Michelle Spack's crowning achievements as she leaves the district, is reducing the number of assessments that our students take on the elementary level, really about allowing for more time for instruction. And changing our gifted identification process to ensure more access to our programming. Climate and culture, we developed a framework for climate and culture to ensure consistent vision. That includes our mental health programming and student supports, making sure that all of our staff are provided support. We started a mindfulness minute this year, expanded our positive behavioral supports and intervention programs. We refreshed our board wellness committee. Again, shout out to Michelle Speck and Dr. Steer for working that. And we had our May wellness program, so that was pretty exciting. We developed our Pennsbury Parent Academy, so we had monthly presentations, and we're going to continue that. And we graduated our first cohort of therapy dogs. Our second cohort starts in July, and the dogs were well received by the students at the high school that we brought in to welcome them for part of their final days. Facilities, as we talked about, we've updated our 20-year plan. We began high school project discussions, ensured that BAME and the stadium project started, and we developed a summer projects list that staff can review, and our folks can see that we are working hard over the summer to ensure our facilities are kept up. This is something I want to give a shout out to George Steele that we didn't do in the past, but really putting out a summer project list that's out there, and we can hold ourselves accountable, but people can see actual progress. Sustainability, and Mr. Sanderson is our ongoing work to establish our sustainability efforts across the district. We established a sustainability policy. We developed a sustainability plan. Our district-wide recycling efforts, we've made some improvements. We're nowhere near where we want. We put in processes to develop green teams in each building. We had hoped to be here with a specific sustainability update, but we're not ready for that yet, and we will come back to you in the fall with that. But I want to give a special shout out to Gary for his work on that and his support on that, for trying to push us forward. Thank you. Some just additional accomplishments you're aware of. We expanded student opportunities, which we've been talking about, using kind of, again, existing dollars. We morphed some things into underutilized groups. So we put in an esports program at the high school, and that really has a potential of being one of our largest activities in the district. Kids were competing against kids all over the country, which is pretty cool. We're moving forward with girls wrestling and girls golf with that, so we're pretty excited about that also. We retooled the hiring and evaluation process. Big shout out to Dr. Gibson for her work in doing that. It's ensuring that we're consistent, and folks, some of the shortfalls we had, that people would interview and wouldn't necessarily hear from us again if they didn't get the job. So ensuring that there's a mechanism that we're objective with that. And then oversaw the merger and tuition committee process that we saw that took, we had a number of public meetings through that. So I think we did a lot this year. So moving forward, we developed a comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan will be posted on the district website for review. We actually have to do that for 28 days, but it's going to stay up until August. It'll be back in front of the board. But that plan will become our areas of focus for the future. So I just want to give you some highlights. So we've really, priority one is learning. And one of the things we had a lot of conversation over this is returning to the joy of learning, making sure that kids are having a good time, that teachers are having a good time, getting us back to, what was, and bringing back the grandeur of Pennsbury, and ensuring that we're developing a lifelong love of learning and success for our students beyond graduation. So we're doing that by by strengthening our curriculum, our instructional design, as I mentioned, and focusing on college and career readiness, our MTSS programs, that all schools are utilizing this program. So ensuring that all those things that we put in place remain in place moving forward in terms of supporting our efforts to instruction. Climate and culture, ensuring that everybody has a sense of belonging, that all members of the Pennsbury community feel seen and heard and valued through that. Strengthening our safety and security systems so people are physically and emotionally safe through that. So again, you can go on the website and see that these are just high-level parts, focusing on sustainability, fiscal responsibility, and meeting the needs of all of our learners. So this year, we'll develop plans for a unified high school campus. That is our goal, and developing a comprehensive athletic and arts program so all students have equitable access to high-quality programs. And then we will maintain and fund our 20-year capital plan. One of the things that Mr. Burdick and I implemented, that a number of our spaces really were neglected for a number of years, and we're playing catch-up through that. So really putting together a plan to move forward with that. So coming soon, the end of the survey results closed today, our survey. The results will be posted on our website for all to see. Back to school forms, major changes coming. Moving away from paper forms that parents have to fill out. If you have multiple kids in multiple schools, you're filling out multiple forms. So trying to streamline that. So if you have students in 3 schools, you only have to enter the data once. So the information, now, full disclosure, we're not going to, there'll probably be some glitches, so I ask for your patience with that. But, we pulled one school, parents were required to fill out 12 different sheets of paper with basically the same information. So we're working to change that. So we're excited to move forward with that. A new turf field and track are under construction if you haven't been by, so check that out. Other thing is our constant ask is, we often see things on various Facebook pages, asking questions. We don't monitor those as a district, but you can ask us. Ask Penny. It's email. You can call us, and we'll answer whatever your questions. You can also, Jen does a nice job, and her helper do a nice job of answering questions that go to our Facebook page also. So coming soon also is the Pennsbury app, which is actually already available, and we're moving to Reach, which replaces Remind. More information about that, but that's all about working to communicate better, more quickly with folks, so you have that information in a timely manner. And that concludes my report. I apologize for the long-winded response, but we've been busy, and we've done a lot, and I think we've made significant progress towards our district goals, and we really appreciate the board for your support in really taking on a number of items that will make Pennsbury stronger for future generations.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Good update. Next is the tech school. Mr. Sanderson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kanan. A meeting of the Bucks County Technical High School Joint Board Committee was held on May 22nd, 2023. Highlights of the meeting was the board approved the appointment of Dr. Smith as Superintendent of Record for a term of 1 year, effective July 1st, 2023. The board also approved the appointment of Patricia Cumberland as Treasurer of the board for a 1-year term, effective the same date, July 1st, 2023. The board approved a 5-year contract for Sharon Rendiro, the business administrator, and that was effective July 1st, 2023. The board approved a revised school calendar for the 2023-2024 school year. The board accepted a grant from the Gene Haas Foundation in the amount of $18,500 to support, in part, scholarships and the Skills USA competition. On the student side, we had a Pennsbury 12th grader that was Student of the Month. It was Trey Toner. The Key Club hosted the 6th annual Mini-thon, and they raised $19,719. And that seems to be it. Our next meeting is June 20th, and this concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is the IU, Mr. Waldorf.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. The Bucks County Intermediate Unit Board is meeting next week on the, I think it's the 20th, Tuesday. So no report tonight.
Okay. Education, Dr. Steer.
So the Education Committee actually met twice since the May board action meeting. So the first meeting was on May 25th, 2023. The following items were presented and discussed and are on the agenda tonight for your consideration in Section 5. A, language and cultural immersion trip to Canada. In 2024, the French department is requesting approval for students enrolled in any French course to visit Canada over the President's Day weekend in February 2024 at a cost to the district of approximately $800 to cover substitutes. B, seal of biliteracy. The World Language Department has proposed awarding students who qualify a seal of biliteracy to recognize any student who is bi or multilingual at a cost not to exceed $6,000 covered by title funding. C, the track program. It's to accept a $10,000 grant from the Bucks County to support this summer's track program. The Truancy Reduction and Curfew for Kids program provides students who qualify with the opportunity to attend a summer program focused on providing unique opportunities, including adventure challenge, job shadowing, mentoring, social skills, life skills, community service, and recreation. D, the Screenagers Project. The district is proposing to offer the screening of 4 educational movie titles to provide opportunities for secondary students and families at a cost of $6,200 paid from the PCCD, which is the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency Funds grant. E, Thrive Alliance Group. This contract supports comprehensive professional development for 12 key individuals in the district on trauma-informed care, as well as family night presentations at a cost not to exceed $35,000. This training is designed to be a turnaround train-the-trainer program where over the course of the year, these key 12 individuals will be trained, and then next year they will train further staff throughout the district. F, Applied EQ Professional Services. This professional development program is being recommended for the 23-24 school year to provide services to the administration, faculty, and staff on the topic of trauma-informed practices, as well as 3 30-minute Parent Academy virtual presentations for a cost not to exceed $12,750. G, K-12 counseling plan has been submitted as required for the 23 school year. It's an annual approval process. H, medical access agreement. It's a renewal that provides the district with professional services by a trained nurse practitioner to approve access fund requests at a cost of $4,650. This service routinely recoups more than $1 million for the district a year. I and J are psychology internship contracts with Temple and Ryder. This provides the district with 2 interns for the 23-24 school year who will provide direct services from both Temple and Ryder under supervision at a cost of $10,000 per intern for a total cost of $20,000. K, psychiatric consultation agreement. This agreement is a contract with a psychiatrist to provide consultation and services to students K through 12 at a cost of $150 for a 30-minute consultation, $275 for a 60-minute consultation, or $475 for a full psychiatric evaluation. L, Linkit. This is a renewal for our Linkit program, benchmarking and data warehousing, which is used K through 12 in the district at a cost not to exceed $101,882. M, Vector Solutions. This program allows students to participate in educational programming after experiencing a negative disciplinary issue. It will also be utilized in all 9th grade health classrooms while allowing students to secure 2 industry credentials, supporting the need for updated PA graduation requirements. The total cost is $11,825. And professional learning partnerships. The administration is proposing an expanded contract with professional learning partnerships to provide professional development and support for the administration, faculty, and staff at a cost not to exceed $36,040. O, services contract, Deaf Hearing Communication Center Incorporated. This is a service contract to provide American Sign Language services as needed in the 23-24 school year for rates starting at $85 an hour. P, Achieve 3000 renewal. This is Achieve 3000 is currently used in both the middle and high schools for students who are in need of reading comprehension support at a cost not to exceed, or at a cost of $22,955 for the year. This contract will continue the programs used in Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. Q, Sports Night, Cure Arena. Sports Night was successfully held at the Cure Arena this year with rave reviews. This contract will allow Sports Night to be held at the Cure Arena again in 23-24 at a cost of $25,000. Math Seeds. Math Seeds supports K-12 automaticity of basic math facts. This contract is to renew our agreement at a cost of approximately $20,731.25. S, StoryWorks, grades 4 through 5. This program supports programming in grades 4 and 5 by providing access to fiction and nonfiction texts at a cost of approximately $16,753.66. T, opening and closing times for the school students. The administration is proposing the same times for opening and closing as last year. U, 2023-2024 school calendar. This is the final calendar draft for the 23-24 school year. V, Mystery Science renewal. This is an elementary science program to support curriculum at a cost of $11,160 using Title IV funds. W, IXL Math. IXL is a self-paced online math program to provide personalized pathways for students. This program is currently used in grades 6 through 9 in both English and math, and this request will expand the use of IXL to include elementary grades. It also includes on-site workshops and guided teacher planning time for a total cost of $33,500. X, TCI teacher licenses. This is a renewal of the TCI program in social studies. It covers 175 teacher licenses at a cost of approximately $19,950. Y, Lakeside School counselor agreements. This agreement will provide 2 additional therapeutic counselors to support at-risk students throughout the district at a cost not to exceed $87,550 per counselor. Okay, and then our next meeting was on Tuesday. Let's see, what was that? June 13th. And the following items were presented and discussed and put on, are on the agenda tonight for your consideration in Section 5. So Z, Delta Education FOSS Next Generation Subscription Model is a 1-year subscription to continue utilizing science kits for instruction in K-5 across all 10 schools in the district at a cost not to exceed $135,244. AA, Project Lead the Way, renewal for Spark. Spark is the elementary STEM program. This renewal allows access to Project Lead the Way resources for instruction and planning at a cost of $9,500. B, B, Diagnostic Reading Assessment 3, the DRA3 Pearson subscription. The DRA is utilized to assess students' reading levels in K through 5 at a cost not to exceed $31,119. This tool is an upgrade, an update to the DRA2 that we have been using for many years throughout the district. CC, Autism Conference. This is a request for 9 staff members to attend the Autism Conference July 31st to August 3rd, 2023 at a cost not to exceed $8,000. DD, the ASCA Annual Counseling Conference. This is a request for our new supervisor of counseling to attend a national counseling conference in Atlanta, Georgia at a cost not to exceed $1,750. EE, the NACAC conference. This is a request for our college and career counselor to attend the National Association for College Admission Counseling Conference in Baltimore in September 2023 at a cost not to exceed $1,010.44. FF, Power School Unified Curriculum Software. The administration is recommending this software product to document and house district curriculum starting in the 23-24 school year. This request also includes a data software update for our student information system, student information management system, for a total cost not to exceed $75,730.27. The next 3 items are all related to Kristen Slota's work with Spark at Afton Elementary School. GG, Need Youth Conference. Mrs. Slota was, with selected students, has been invited to attend this conference in Washington, D.C. While there, they will have a tour of the U.S. Capitol with Representative Fitzpatrick. And I'd like to thank Representative Fitzpatrick for making this amazing opportunity available to our students. There's no cost to the district. HH, Need Facilitator Training. Mrs. Slota has been invited to participate in this facilitator training in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at no cost to the district. Need Bob Thompson Excellence in Energy Award. We are proud that Mrs. Slota has again been awarded this honor. She will accept this award in Austin, Texas at no cost to the district. JJ, Special Education Curriculum for the 2023-2024 school year. This is a request for annual renewal of multiple elements of our special education curriculum, including Read 180 and System 44, which is utilized in grades 3 through 10 and includes a 1-day training for new staff at a combined cost of $42,742.88. This is a decrease of more than $27,000 from last year. We don't have to buy the libraries. We have them throughout the district now. Math 180, which is utilized in grades 4 through 8 at a cost of $10,939.23 at a decrease of almost $16,000 from last year. Alex 612, which is a math program including algebra with additional professional services and support at a total cost of $18,493.20. This is an increase of over $1,900 from last year. SMARTS, which is an executive function curriculum serving grades 6 through 12 plus at a cost not to exceed $20,226. This is a decrease of nearly $3,500. And News to You, which is a suite of programs to help students gain mastery as they progress from foundational skills to more advanced topics at a cost not to exceed $22,754.43. This is an increase of almost $2,300. And the final education committee recommendation is KK, the Leadership Resilience Journey. This is a comprehensive school well-being solutions professional development opportunity for our administrative team designed to improve culture and increase resilience to encourage our staff retention. It includes a half-day retreat, a series of 8 one-hour trainings, hour-long one-on-one coaching sessions for all administrators, and a pre-post impact assessment for a total cost not to exceed $34,450. Not covered in our meetings is LL, overnight educational and other leaves for your consideration.
Thank you. You want to continue with facilities?
Now I'm on to facilities. Yes, that's me again. So the committee met on Thursday, June 1st, We reviewed the list of summer projects. We had the capital project update, highlights of which include the village park preparations for 6th grade Charles Bain students, phase 2 of the stadium project, ongoing renovations at Charles Bain, and the preliminary work needed to prepare for a new or renovated high school. This included bids for building materials investigation and abatement preparation, land surveying, and preliminary geotechnical investigation, which can be found at items 6A, B, and C. Additionally, we had a GIZA project update. GIZA stands for the Guaranteed Energy Savings Act. Highlights included the successful installation of a chiller at Manor before the AC air conditioning season started, and the plan to transition to indoor lighting, indoor LED lighting throughout many of the buildings across the district over the summer. There are additional summer projects going forward. We also discussed the rotation of buildings for next year's school meetings, committee meetings. The following action items were reviewed and sent to the board for consideration and approval. 6A, award Element Environmental the contract for full service investigation of hazardous materials, asbestos, PCB, lead, among others, abatement documentation, as well as indoor quality air testing of the PHS campus at a cost of $38,600. 6B, the award Arthur A. Swallow Associates the contract for land surveying services of the PHS campus at a cost of $94,500. 6C, award Earth Engineering the contract for geotechnical investigation services of the PHS campus at a cost of $42,430. 6D, approve and authorize Dewey Engineering to prepare drawings and specifications and bid the Makefield partial roof replacement project, allowing for it to move forward. And finally, 6E, approve and authorize the William Penn Rain Garden to proceed this summer with volunteer efforts from the Girl Scouts and multiple interest parties, and with limited support from the District Facilities Department. And that concludes my report for the Facilities Committee.
The Finance and Partnership Committee met on June 6th, and we are going to go from A to SS. In terms of things for action items for tonight. We had a very short meeting and basically spent our time talking about the action items. Approval of the 7A, approval of the financial reports. 7B, approve bills pending. 7C is appointment of the board secretary, which is Mr. Chris Burdnick. 7D is a contract award for propane buses, where we're going to purchase 7 78 passenger buses for each for $138,670, as well as 2 27 passenger lift buses for $144,400. The 7E is the approval of the final budget for the general funds. F is the 2023-24 senior tax rebate that we offer out. 7G is the tax resolution that once we approve the budget, the increase of the millage. 7H is the Homestead Farmstead Act that we have to approve as well. 7I is our bank depositories that we work with. 7J is allowing budget adjustments over the summer when we have not met. 7K is committed fund balance categories to allow movement between the categories in terms of funds. 7L is our investment programs. 7M is the payment of bill authorization, again, up to a certain limit during the, while we're not in meeting. N, O, P, Q, and R are all related to signature authorizations for general funds, food service, other accounts, student activities accounts, and electronic signature. 7S is the transfer authorization between accounts. 7T is allowing the finance team to do year-end closing. 7U is a request from the Lower Makefield Tax Collector to include a tax bill enclosure. 7Z, excuse me, we're at the V, I'm not going to jump ahead, is the administration, is to hire Interstate Tax Service Bureau Unemployment Compensation Control Services to be our administrator of that. W is the United Group Programs to administer our Section 125 plan. 7X is by Beata Nursing Agreement. This is just about providing substitutes when we need to have a nurse on staff for our students, and our staff is not is on leave. 7Y is an agreement with the Council of Southeast Pennsylvania, helping us with student assistant programs. 7Z is a memorandum of understanding with our local police departments. 7AA is to purchase Navigate 360 Alice e-learning modules for $21,521.85, effective September 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2024. 7BB is Navigate 360 Behavior Threat Assessment Platform for $15,200. 7CC is a Raptor Visitor Management System for $12,758. Last month, we approved the kiosk. This is the software to run that, those kiosks. DD is Source for Nurses, which is also to help us find substitute nurses when we're required by the to get that done. 7EE is First Aid and Nursing Supply bid. They're listed out. The total came to $29,358.23. 7FF is a Student Development Room Furniture bid that came in at $31,596.82 to update the furniture in our staff development room. 7GG is to buy new cafeteria tables for Penwood for $87,246.59. Our existing tables that are available, that are functional, will be put out to municipal bid for anyone who would like to purchase those. 7HH is a memorandum of understanding with Bucks County Intermediate Unit related to our helping us with the Head Start program. 7II is a Survey Monkey agreement, not to exceed $14,250 for surveys. 7JJ is the CAMI renewal, $23,544. This is a tool that many of our staff uses. It's a PDF editor and a digital enhancement tool. 7KK is a Keystone Recycling Agreement to recycle old electronics. 7LL is a purchase of a Google Workspace for Education Plus. It's a 4-year agreement, not to exceed $43,200, and by purchasing this now for the 4-year agreement, we keep the level cost for that time. The aforementioned, I think twice now, is the 7MM, the student Chromebooks, and the 4-year accident coverage for $939,635. These will allow us to buy new Chromebooks for all of our 1st, 5th, and 9th graders. 7NN is a tax stipulation, which will move forward with increased tax revenue for our district for $28,617 annually. 700 is a tax stipulation, which is just for the year 2022 for $1,770.81. PP is for consideration. We jointly own a property, Red Cedar property, and there is a proposal for all of the ascending districts to the Bucks County Intermediate Unit to demolish the structures. Our share would be $22,719.17. 7QQ is some tax appeals that we're going to move forward on with everyone's approval tonight. So they're listed, the parcels are listed in the book. RR was pulled tonight. SS is a donation from the Kanan family to the Pennsbury School District for percussion instruments, accepted with appreciation. That includes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Waldorf. Policy and Personnel, Dr. Delvich.
Yes, the Policy and Personnel Committee met on June 6th at about 4:30. We went into executive session during that time to discuss personnel issues. The recommendations of the board, or of the committee rather, to the board is to approve the personnel professional items and the personnel classified items as listed. The MOU was with PESPA regarding recruitment and retention of bus drivers was discussed, and we suggest continued discussion. The professional services contract with the Penn Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology was discussed and suggested that it be approved. This will provide an optional opportunity for our teachers who want to learn more about this aspect that they can bring into their classrooms. For the policy portion of the meeting, we discussed one policy, policy 903.7. This is a new policy, and the policy would standardize public comments at committee meetings. We're not required to allow public comments at committee meetings. Currently, every committee does it a little bit differently, and we think just to make it easier for people moving from committee to know what to expect and to just kind of standardize it across it. And for this month, we recommend a first read of that new policy 903.7. That concludes my report. Thank you.
If I could just jump in for a second and acknowledge Dr. Alyssa Wolof, who the Personnel Committee met with. She's in the audience and she's on the agenda for this evening.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Is there a wellness report?
So the Wellness Committee met on Tuesday, May 25th. We reviewed the work of the committee this year, the recommendations for an update to our wellness policy, our new webpage for wellness for the district, incorporation of sustainability into our wellness space, and our first annual Wellness Month challenge with the first walk, bike, or roll event in May. We briefly discussed plans for next year, and we thanked Mrs. Michelle Spack for her leadership of the committee and wished her well in her retirement. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the Edgewood Elementary School for winning the first ever Wellness Month Challenge trophy. There were a total of 4,404 entries. Top elementary school, Edgewood, 1,899 entries. Top middle school was Charles Bame with 143 entries, and top high school was West with 129. Thanks to the nutrition group, an elementary, middle, and high school student each won a bike for participating. So Joanna Azab, fourth grader at Edgewood Elementary, Sophia Bucci, a seventh grader at Charles Bame, and Lucy Kuhnliff, 10th grader at PHS. We hope that, we want to thank everyone who participated and hope that you enjoyed trying new things and hopefully picked up a healthy habit or two. I'd like to also say on a personal note that I want to thank Michelle Spack for being a great partner in wellness over the tenure that I've been on the board. We really made great strides this year, and I really appreciated her guidance and her hard work. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is public comment. We'll start with Andrew Dell.
Andrew Dell, Falls Township. First thing I want to touch base with was last meeting, one of the speakers, Nastasha Rasley, made a comment that I should read the book White Fear with some of the other dozens of books that I've read. And I take exception to that. It's a racist comment because this book is nothing but hating white people and blaming white people for everything. And it wasn't appreciated. You know, this is a woman who sits out in the foyer out here the whole meeting with Mrs. Delwich's husband, Mike Selleck and sits there and conspires and then comes in here and tries to put down everything that I say and tries to pigeonhole me as a racist, which I'm not. If she would actually sit and listen in these meetings, I am trying to assist the minority students. It may not appear that way, but it is that way. Creating them and making them victims is not a way to raise them up from bad grades or not staying up to par with everybody else. Secondly, Dr. Fergus, he seems to have turned into a vapor. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard of any meetings with him. Haven't heard of any numbers after going over Sharissa Gibson's numbers. I want to see what these numbers are and how we've improved, which I'm sure we haven't. I can almost guarantee these are going to be failing numbers. And I want to know how long this DEI program is going to go on for. If these numbers don't show any improvement, I want to know how long this program is going to continue on for. And this isn't anything against Mrs. Gibson. I have no problem with Mrs. Gibson. I just don't like this program. And I know, Tom, you say you're in charge of this program. You're the one I should be directing my comments to because Dr. Gibson refuses to answer me. You at least give me partial answers and, you know, you're not telling me everything, obviously, but I want to know what's the end game here. Where's Dr. Fergus? What's he done with these numbers? Where do we stand? Second thing is this new high school. You know, I know there's been a lot of teachers parading through here for the last 4 meetings to give you the gung-ho rah-rah on this new building. But I want to know what we've spent in the last 5 years maintaining these buildings, investing and reinvesting in the infrastructure of these buildings. I don't know if we spent a dime on these places. You know, if the roof's leaking, you're going to bulldoze the building and put it, instead of just putting a roof on it. I think the bones of these buildings are fine. I think they definitely need some work. But I want to know how much money we've been spending on these facilities and or lack of money we've been spending on these facilities. Thirdly, emotional health, mental health. You guys are putting so much focus on this. I don't even remember it being an issue when I went to school. You know, it's like a factory creating snowflakes here. You guys, you know, the dogs I'm not upset about because I'm a dog lover. I get the dogs, and Tom and I got busted chops about the dogs. But, you know, if some of these kids need professional help, let them get professional help outside of the school. Your job is to teach these kids. And by looking at the grades on the last slides, I think it was maybe 2 meetings ago, these kids aren't getting the education that they need. If you start focusing on just the education and not the peripherals and how they feel and, did someone upset them today? Was there a microaggression? I'm getting tired of this garbage. Teach these kids, and if they need help, give them help. If they need mental health, that's on their family. Let their families give them mental health. I don't remember my guidance counselor give me mental health evaluations. Let's see. And lastly, I guess about 2 months ago, you had a student that supposedly had a knife. You guys said she doesn't have a knife. I heard she did have a knife, got taken out of here, and apparently was back in school within 2 or 3 days. I want to know if that's true. I know you're not going to admit to the knife thing, so, but I believe there's a knife involved, but you're not. I want to know if there's no consequences for these kids' behavior, how is their behavior ever going to change? If they know they can run their muck around these schools and there's no consequences for their actions, these actions are never going to change. So I think you guys got to start suspending and getting rid of the kids with serious disciplinary actions and put an end to this problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, next is Michelle Dees. Guys.
Thank you, Mr. Kernan. Michelle Dice, Pennsbury resident, representing the Pennsbury Arts Foundation. Dr. Smith, administration members of the board, and members of the board, and others in attendance, it's my annual pleasure to present the annual report of the Pennsbury Arts Foundation, one of 3 foundations in our school district. This was our 22nd year of awarding classroom grants which link the arts to learning. Visualize a Broadway star who also attended your elementary school, or an operatic singer who was a Pennsbury alumni present master vocal classes. Experience having a Native American set up a teepee on school property, learning third grade history within its walls at Penn Valley Elementary. Contemplating drawing a portrait of an orphan who lives halfway around the world and doesn't have a photograph of themselves. Our mission is to integrate the visual and performing arts in any grade level in any curriculum. Available to any Pennsbury professional, a grant can be requested by November the 1st. Our application process includes a review by a committee that includes community members, and many are retired Pennsbury educators. To date, PAF has awarded over 210 grants valued at over $100,000. We also have supported numerous district beautification projects. But you might be thinking, why an arts foundation? Was there something wrong with the arts in Pennsbury? Absolutely not. As you can see, the arts thrive, which is a part due to you and the stakeholders prioritizing the support of the arts. We are one of the top 100 districts for music in the country. Look at the community-supported, nationally recognized prom. Attend a play and browse the district art exhibit. It's quite evident we're okay in the arts, but we found that studies have shown any student that participates in the visual and performing arts are more successful. And historically, PAF began in 1997 with a retreat held by former District Superintendent Ralph Nuslow. In 1998, we became our nonprofit status as a 501c3, and in 2001, we started giving money away. Thanks to our previous school board, one of my first assignments was to work with PAF in 1999, and I'm still at it. PAF is a conduit to enhance our district with donated funds for granting. With the support of PAF gifts, though, the entire operating overhead is covered. So essentially, any donation means 100% of your tax-deductible donation benefits the students of Pennsbury directly. We know fundraising is tough for everybody, but we'll manage to keep on going. I must acknowledge my other board members, former Superintendent Ralph Nuslow, Dave Yance, Peggy Pelosi, Christine Slosser, Nyla Hauser, and Lauren Dice. Some of our schools have dedicated fundraising in support of PAF, as well as PTO support programs like Penwood Middle School. Any gift of $500 could get you a provided named grant, or we have received memorial grants. So it's my pleasure this year that we awarded grants to several of our schools. Quarry Hill had a choral master class with Broadway's Christy Altamar, brought to us by Jennifer Stevens. Robin Moore, the storytelling and teepee raising was presented at Penn Valley Elementary School thanks to Heather McGurran. Bucket drumming with Leon Jordan Duo was presented at Walt Disney Schools, and Lori Becker reached out to us for funding. A German Oompa Loompa band was held on International Language Day with nearly 1,000 students involved at PHS West, thanks to Amy DeFazio and Andrea Garbarino. Pennsbury High School art teachers, Abby Kramer's majors, had that memory project where they created the portraits of orphans, and they were featured at your district art fair. Technology in ceramics was the use of cross-cut stencils for clay slab projects with John Twersky at PHS East. Our mission supports teacher-selected programs which enhance the district curriculum, assuring that our students are receiving the most unique opportunities. I thank you for your time and attention, for most importantly, your continued support of the arts at Pennsbury. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Vivian Furman.
Good evening, Dr. Mazgai and board members. I'm Dr. Vivian Furman, and my husband Leo and I live in Yardley with our 2 young kids. We're here tonight to voice our strong desire for the district to invest in our kids' education, specifically in the form of improved infrastructure, and more specifically, in support of building a new high school and not just renovating the old one. If we're investing at the significant level called for to address the state of the high school building, we would much rather see a new school built versus just putting Band-Aids on the old one. We think a new building will not only allow for a well-designed space that demands respect from the students and meets the needs of modern-day kids and inspires them to learn, but it can also address the many security issues that I've heard come up a lot in recent months. A new school has strong support from Pennsbury School District residents who understand what an important foundation that the physical building lays for young people and the future of our district. It will make Pennsbury not only a more desirable place to live, but it will give our kids a leg up in an already all too competitive world. So with two little kiddos at home, 7:30 p.m. on a Thursday evening was a tough time to get away, as many of you can probably attest. But we found childcare tonight because we felt really strongly about both of us, both parents being here. And we were asked to represent and speak for countless friends, mostly parents like us, that were not able to get away at bedtime on a weeknight. We know families that actually plan on moving during or after middle school to avoid putting their kids in Pennsbury High School. And this is costing the town in tax dollars as they leave and in other intangibles like reputation, which also translates into lost value for all residents. We support the tax increases that are definitely, as we heard earlier, going to be needed to cover the cost of a new building. And frankly, we shy away from renovations for a lot of reasons, including likely delays from all sorts of surprises and unknowns with which anyone who has renovated anything is familiar. If we're investing, let's invest smart and be efficient with our funding. A new high school building benefits everyone. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Lara Flynn.
Good evening. My name is Lara Flynn. My older brother and I are extremely proud graduates of Edgewood Elementary School, Charles Bay Middle School, Medill Bear, and Pennsbury High School. He was class of 2000, I was class of 2004. My brother went on to University of Pennsylvania and a successful career. I went on to Tufts and continue to be successful as well. I loved my K-12 experience so much that my husband and I, after living in Washington, D.C. and in Philadelphia, decided to settle here in Lower Makefield Township so that our son will have the opportunity for the same excellent education that I was provided at Pennsbury. Of course, I have absolutely wonderful memories of my time at Pennsbury. However, I was aware of many of the facilities concerns back in the early 2000s, and I can only imagine that despite the efforts of this board, many of these facilities concerns have only deteriorated. I'm thrilled to be here this evening to fully support the budget, and even though I understand that a final decision has yet to be made about what will ultimately happen with the high school campus, I'm completely in favor of a brand new building construction. Our son just completed first grade at Afton Elementary School, and the proposed timeline will provide his class the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive in a high school building that reflects the excellent quality of the education that he will receive there. I also want to say that we got a babysitter tonight, a recent class of 2023 Pennsbury grad, to share the voices of our friends and neighbors with elementary-aged children who were unable to attend this evening as public comment is way past bedtime. Thank you.
Next is Susan Power.
Hi, my name is Susan Power and I live in LMT. And up until last week, I had two children in the high school. And I'm just here tonight for two reasons. First reason, my older son just graduated last week at the Cure Arena, and it was really a wonderful experience. And I just also wanted to say thank you very much to everybody in the Pennsbury School District that got him to that stage. He had some wonderful teachers starting at Quarry Hill, through Penwood and at the high school, and ending with the post-secondary counselling team that helped us navigate the college application maze. I feel confident in saying that he is an empathetic, critical thinker and is ready for whatever comes next. And I'd also like to say that he is very proud to say that he is a Pennsbury graduate. He really loved being at the high school. So the second reason I'm here also is I was lucky enough to be able to help out with the prom committee over the past few months, and I was able to see firsthand the bad state that the high school east building is in. And I really think that building, trying to renovate that building, you have to basically rebuild the whole thing from the inside out. So, I really think it has no future in the plans for the high school complex. And it seems to me that building a whole new high school would be the best solution in the long run. But I'd also, that's not the real reason. The other thing I want to talk about is that there's one building at the high school complex that has not really been mentioned very much, although I did hear it mentioned a little bit tonight, and it's the building that houses the pool that's used by the swim and dive team. This building also houses the changing rooms for the other sports teams, but I think I heard at a past meeting that that may change when the stadium renovation is complete. I know that there used to be a swimming unit in the freshman physical education course, but I don't know that that has happened since the COVID outbreak. But like East, the pool building is old and it's not in great shape. The age of this building means that there's a lot of maintenance issues that have had or need to be addressed on an ongoing basis. In the past, the excellent Cindy Ward, who led the swim and dive boosters, has worked with the administration to solve issues as they arose. But I just want to briefly list some of them here so you have an idea what's involved. And some of these issues are bigger ticket items than others. First off, the heating system broke and needed to be fixed in the 21-22 season. The timing system, which is essential to run meets, broke last season, and there has been, Cindy worked with the Colorado timing systems to get new equipment to replace what was broken. I believe the order was placed in March, but I don't know if it has arrived yet. There are ongoing plumbing issues in the girls' locker room. The necessary parts have been ordered, is my understanding, and hopefully they will be installed and repaired by the start of the school year. There's additional concerns that include oversight of the chemicals, such as monitoring and maintenance and testing, etc. And just the overall condition of the building needs to be assessed. Not sure if there's anything wrong with the ventilation, but it seems like it's not really functioning efficiently for the building. Finally, the diving boards need to be upgraded and the PA system doesn't really work. As time goes on, I'm sure that there will be more issues that arise, but I was just coming here tonight just to see what plans the district has for the building moving forward. Will it stay as it is, or will the pool facility be incorporated into any plans for a new school? I'm sure, all the maintenance issues, and how much all of those costs will factor, but I just wanted to point out that the pool building is another area that needs improvement. Thank you.
Next is Brendan Flynn.
Good evening, my name is Brendan Flynn, Lower Makefield Township. First of all, I wanted to thank all of you for your work, and particularly the board members. I know it's often thankless work, and clearly you put a lot of time in, and we certainly appreciate that. I just wanted to speak briefly about the new high school / renovated high school. I think it's absolutely vitally important to vote in favor of the budget tonight, to make that down payment and invest in our facilities going forward. Pennsbury has incredible teachers. There's been an incredible investment in the human capital, and I think that's really important. Tremendous teachers, and the school district produces tremendous graduates. I know many of them. You see graduates on Broadway, on television, movies. I think it's a testament to this community. That having been said, we need to make sure that the facilities, particularly the high school facilities, are at the same level as the tremendous human capital that we have, both teachers and students. Whether the board ultimately decides to renovate West or to tear down both East and West and build a new high school, it's tremendously important to make that investment so that all the kids coming up, going to Pennsbury, whether they're from Falls Township, Lower Makefield, Yardley Borough, Tullytown, everyone can come together and learn in an environment that is conducive to learning and that is going to produce the next generation. The next generation of leaders will sit on this board who will, go represent us in Washington. So I just ask that you as the board vote in favor of this budget tonight. And again, thank you for your service.
Next is Tim Daly.
Tim Daly, Lower Makefield Township. First, I would like to address the violation of policy 903 that was done by a staged political operative at the last meeting. Public comment is limited forum to discuss school matters only. This is not a forum to attack and intimidate community members from speaking while spewing defamatory comments by calling people racist with zero evidence. Given it appears one of the board members coordinated these attacks with their personal friend who hangs out with their spouse in the lobby each month, your solicitor should advise you that Pennsbury can be held legally liable for violations of the First Amendment again. I encourage the board to censure your colleague publicly and condemn her official misconduct. Mr. Khan, please enforce the policy that Federal Judge Prater placed upon you. As I'm sure many of you are aware, I requested all of your statements of final interest this week. These documents are legally required to inform the public of your personal income and your debt obligations that could interfere with your making decisions in the best interest of the public. I sent an email to your solicitor earlier this week that 3 filings were in violation of PA law. I want you all to understand that I give you the benefit of the doubt that these were just errors and that they were unintentional. Dr. Gibson, the PA Department of Corporations shows that your LLC is currently active. You must declare this in your filing. Dr. Smith, your filing omitted the interest rates on your 4 creditors in excess of $6,500. You need to update this error. And Mr. Burdick, who's not here with us, on his 8 creditors in excess of $6,500, which includes unpaid taxes and a lien from the IRS, you cannot simply state variable. He has to write his actual rates. Myself and others are here tonight bringing our concerns forward on your financial aptitude, given you plan to pass a maximum or near maximum tax increase for the 12th time in 13 years. A report in the Courier Times this week noted that Pennsbury has the 5th highest taxed school district out of 600 in our state. This is a ranking that you should all be ashamed of, as once again, this budget made no real attempts to create cost savings and eliminate unnecessary bloated staffing again. So our Moody's bond rating is on the brink of another downgrade, given the warnings that were noted in the qualitative response this year. The warning states that increased debt carriage will result in a downgrade once we commence building a new high school, either plan that you do. If you renovate and expand west, you will drop us one notch. If you demolish both buildings and rebuild new, you will drop us 2 notches. Then if you add on the Morrisville merger to the 2 buildings, you bring us to junk bond status and you destroy our community and the value of our homes. So to be clear, a new shiny building will not offset financial destruction you will cause if we get downgraded to junk status, and the increased interest rates will explode our tax burden. Much of this could have been avoided had you not followed the orders of Steve Sanasiero and provided the unnecessary tax break to North Point Development. And we are now 2.5 years into this deal, and not one permanent job has been created, and only 1 parcel has been sold. The lack of demand is so dire that North Point is now building its own buildings and begging people to rent them. Had you not provided this tax price, the property would have been reassessed and we'd be flush with money that we could have built this school with just cash rather than debt. The property is now valued today at $3.65 billion. But instead, you got conned by Steve Sanasiero once again. Have you guys ever heard the adage, fool me once, shame on you, fool me once, shame on me? Each of you that voted for this union-driven dark money boondoggle should be ashamed of what you did. And right now we have rats running down the hallways of East, and the building smells like a toilet bowl because of your vote to give away those taxes. We are nearing the point of no return here as the approval of increased spending with no cost cutting while utilizing half-baked forecasting for your business managers, setting Pennsbury up for insolvency. We cannot undo the budget at this point because you once again put your fingers in your ears and tuned out community members with far more experience in budgeting and forecasting than your school administrative staff. And I am sure none of you on the board reviews these statements of financial disclosures before you showed up today to vote on the budget. And you need to understand the personal complications of these people you hired who can't even balance their own personal checkbooks, manage their personal debt, and your business manager, your CFO, is on the brink of personal bankruptcy. Thank you.
Next is Robert Abrams.
Robert Abrams, Lower Makefield Township. Well, I gotta follow that one. Wow. Let me clean up some things from my last public comment last month. Program to have the public monies, $150,000 to $200,000 a year, pulling equipment, electronic equipment out of district. I said that was servers. It was not servers. It was switches. Servers are big things. Switches are small things. Mr. Kanan, I said I believed that you were the chair of the committee. You were not. You were at that meeting. Mr. Waldorf announced himself as the chair. All right, clean that up. Dr. Delwish, I sat at your meeting at 4:30 in the afternoon, and I was asked to give public comment as the very first thing after your private meeting. Then, after I gave my public comment on 903.7, is that what it is? You made 6 or 10 changes to it. What good was my public comment? It was worthless. That's viewpoint discrimination. And it's sure sounding to me like you're carrying out orders to silence the public. Absolutely ridiculous to have public comment before you have a discussion about what you're doing. That has to be changed. Also, you had in there that you want to put the kids before the parents. Why would you do that? I can understand that here. This meeting can run up to about 11 o'clock. Your meeting's 4:30 in the afternoon. There's not a meeting that I know about that goes past 7 o'clock. Why would the kids have to go first? You're only allowing 3 minutes per comment, 9 minutes total. That means you only have 3 speakers. That's what you have in there. Okay, So what you're saying is we'll bring 3 kids in here, they'll take 3 minutes each, we'll shut the public up and just tell them to pay $15,000 to the school district in taxes. Let's go over this tax thing. We listen to the politics and the BS around here. The tax increase is only going to be about $177. Well, tell that to the seniors over in Regency. Their tax increase for this year is going to be $600, about. Next year, instead of taking $9.6 million in new money out of this community, you're going to take $12 million out of this community, and they're going to be asked to pay another $750 on top of the $600. At what point do you stop? I have 2 or 3 ideas that are much better than anything that you put up on that screen, that will make Pennsbury stand out through every other school district in this county. But you don't want to listen. Now, I handed you all Mr. Burdnick's financial disclosure statement. You all filled it out. And by the way, everybody up there that's not a board member, except for you, Dr. Ricci, because you're on the borderline, I'm not sure, nobody pays their taxes to the Pennsbury School District. Nobody. What I think we should do is for every tax increase, for this year 4.1%, we should dock your pay 4.1%, and then you'll know how the rest of us feel. How does that sound? Everybody want to raise their hands for that one? All right, let's talk about 8 creditors, including the IRS. This is a person that's responsible to almost $250 million in taxpayer money that can't actively run their own financial situation. If that doesn't scare everybody in this room and everybody that's listening, boy, there's something wrong with you. And do you want to know who the second biggest creditor is? The guy that's politicking to bankrupt this school district with a brand new high school. There's something wrong with that. Now, there are many other ideas, and the community needs to get in here and needs to get them out to you people, and everybody and everything needs to be considered. This can be done cheaper and nicer and more efficiently. And if you don't want to do, don't go and bury this again. The taxes since Mr. Burdnick has been here have been increased $26,894,774 in 4 budget years. That's an insane amount of money.
Thank you, Mr. Abrams. Have a good night.
Next is Doug Marshall.
I think he's here. I don't know.
Did you leave?
He might have stepped out the restroom.
Okay. Next is Alan Barth.
Alan Barth, Lower Makefield. It has been 3 years since the school board approved the equity position and appointed Dr. Gibson to lead the equity program. 3 years and over $1 million. And we still have no reliable accounting of its direct impact on student achievement. Pennsbury has, however, been cited for disproportionality by the state of Pennsylvania. For 2 full years, the public has questioned, critiqued, and challenged the efficacy of this program. And at each turn, we have been met with blank stares from this board and no answers from the equity director. When asked directly at the last board meeting for root causes of disparities that were identified in the initial equity report, my question was ignored in a most disrespectful manner. Your collective arrogance was on full public display, and it was absolutely appalling. When Mr. Kanaan asked Dr. Smith at the last meeting if maybe we could get some metrics on the equity program, he was completely dissed by Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith did not say yes, of course, but instead referred to the mission statement, preparing all students to become creative, ethical, and critical thinkers for lifelong success. Isn't that what we should be doing anyway? Do we really need an equity program to support that mission? Dr. Smith, you frequently tout the high achievement of the districts you came from. One of those districts is West Windsor. West Windsor is a very high-achieving district and is, in fact, 90% minority students. And they achieve their high standards without an equity program. How is that even possible? Maybe, Dr. Smith, you should let Dr. Gibson know. Unless, of course, her equity program is more about injecting social justice ideology into everything Pennsbury does than actual achievement for all students equally. Because I think we can all agree that Nastasia Raisley's public comment last month revealed the true nature of Dr. Gibson's equity program. As Dr. Gibson's head cheerleader, she insinuated that myself and others were racist and stated that we were the reason we needed a DEI program. As if that wasn't bad enough, at the end of the meeting, many board members surrounded Nastasia, not to admonish her, but to give her attagirls. Clearly, this equity program at its core is about injecting divisive social justice ideology, not to provide robust educational and academic tools for all students equally. So this board has a choice. You can continue with the equity program as is under Dr. Gibson's leadership that promotes victimhood, entitlement, and dependency, which we all know is a losing formula. Or you can reevaluate the program and under new leadership, incorporate the ideology that we already know is the key to its success: hard work, responsibility, independence, and accountability. Let us all hope that this board will be both humble enough and wise enough to make the right choice. Thank you.
Okay, next is Joanna Mastriana.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Smith. I basically came to find out, I want to know what's going on with the Marsville merger. And as I was sitting here and listening to Dr. Smith talk about how we have these high ratings all over the place and all the achievements that have been made at the Pennsbury School District, I couldn't help but think to myself, what would our rankings be if we did merge with Marsville? How would their abysmal scores affect the ranking of our school district? How would that, and now we're talking about a brand new school, which a shiny new building does not make a school district wonderful. It's what's happening inside, who's there and what's happening. So during all those discussions, much was said about it wasn't going to cost the Pennsbury residents anything through that study, and yet now we seem to be at a crossroads. Is it a school or is it Marsville? So all along, you knew that it was going to cost the taxpayers money. I also wanted to thank a few of the school board members who knew from the outset that this was a bad idea. It was a bad idea financially for the people of the community, and it's a bad idea for our students. I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank some of my colleagues and friends who've come month after month after month to try to get you to see that this is not a good plan. And they would be Rob Abrams, they would be Tim Daly, they would be Donna Abrazio, who may be one of your sitting board members shortly, hopefully. Tim Watson, Alan, the woman who just spoke, and so many of us who have been here, you know our faces. We're here monthly. And I want to know when we're going to put this Marsville thing to rest. Or is this going to go linger on through the summer and into the fall? That's really all I have for you, and I'd like an answer. Maybe someone? When will we vote on this? Do we not know?
It's on the agenda today.
Okay, well, I look forward to hearing what you have for us. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end of public comment. Is there anything, Dr. Smith, you want to address?
Yeah, I would like to say a couple things. You know, we talk about the mission statement and why we're here, and I know that, you know, often we focus on the director of equity position. And I just wanted, as it was mentioned, the director of equity position was developed and supported by the board several years ago. Dr. Gibson was hired by the board, asked to do a job, and I think did a job very well. Last year, I combined positions with the director of equity and director of human resources. And I would say with about 1,500 employees, HR really encompasses the 80–90% of her life on a daily basis. This was done with the expectation that all of us understand our role in equity, and we begin to address inequities in our part. And we kind of get caught up in the word equity, unfortunately, but equity means many things. For example, I met with a high school student who has mobility challenges and who was talking about they were having a very hard time traversing the high school campus and the parking lot. For her, she came to us saying that this is not equitable for me. It's really unfortunate, I think, that the amount of vitriol that Dr. Gibson's experienced in public, and I've seen her emails, and you know, she's really, it's often assumed that she's responsible for a lot of this work when it's really a lot of people's work. And for example, disproportionality she's not even involved in that. That's really spearheaded by another administrator, but she continually gets pulled into that by other folks. So I just want to acknowledge that. There's a lot of things that Dr. Gibson does, but you know, she's transitioned roles, so that's moved away. And equity is really a district vision and a district focus that the board supported many years ago, and we continue to see through. I would like to also mention, you know, some other sense, and I just wanted to correct, West Windsor does have a program for diversity, inclusion, and equity, and they do have a coordinator of that, so that's, so I would like to just kind of address one thing about the comments made regarding a district's financial officer. I want to make it clear that we don't discuss personal challenges that anybody has, regardless of whether it's mental health or any challenges that our our staff members face. No one's immune from life's challenges. And I can only say that during my time, I can share that I found our district's administrative team to be dedicated professionals. We've gone under routine audits. We've received clean audits from 2 different independent auditing firms. The auditors have verified and checked our balances to ensure proper accounting procedures are followed. And I ask you to consider that, and you can meet with, check in with our auditors with that. We've, in my experience, anyone in our financial services has only done extraordinary work and been recognized by state groups. One other thing I would like to mention about the situation at the high school, I've probably sent out, anytime there's a weapon in schools, I've sent out information to our community. I don't understand the thinking of why I wouldn't do it when this one spot. You know, if there was a weapon, I would have shared that with the information in our community. I've done it before. We're not afraid to do that. I share what's happening in the high school, period. The student did not come back to school in the next couple of days. That was another internet rumor. I don't know where that came from. But neither the student did not have a knife and the student did not return to school. That's a fact. And if the student did have a weapon, or any student has a weapon, we've communicated that. I've demonstrated that time and time again to this community. I will say this, we've made a decision as a district to share information, good, bad, and ugly. I know that other districts have fights in their high schools. They choose not to share that information. I share that information on a regular basis because I want our community to know. I want our parents to work with us. I want our staff members to work with us in some of the challenges we face. Kids are different now. I understand the point about mental health. Kids are coming into our district with different experiences than we had. That's a fact. And it is our responsibility, I would argue, to ensure that that impact of their life is not impacting other students and not impacting our classrooms. So we're here to help and support them. There's grant monies to do that. It's work that we've done, work that the state supports, and quite frankly, for me, mental health for students has been one of the hallmarks of my career of trying to support students. And I really think you would feel differently if you've experienced the loss of a student in school or some of the challenges that you face in our classrooms. As I said, our kids have different experiences than we had, and we have to address that, and we have to recognize that. They're coming in with different experiences, and I can't turn a blind eye to it, and I won't turn a blind eye to it. It's our hope that we're going to do everything we can to ensure that we level the playing field for all students. And that's level the playing field. I'm not saying any student gets an easier way than other students. We have always said that all of our programming is ensuring that students get the support they need and they're held to the same expectations as everybody else. But sometimes they need extra support. And that's...
I wrote on a few things. This whole thing about high school comes up, right? I know the budget sets the stage for us to begin work, but at what point in the timeline we're going to decide, is it a new school or a renovation, those kinds of things?
You have to do that now. I mean, as part of that, is we have to go out to RFP for an architect.
Now meaning today?
Not today, no. Now meeting after
today.
After today, we put together a community. We start looking at the
that's the next step.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
So, but when you go out to RFP for an architect, you have to have
what are you doing?
Expectations of what you're doing.
Okay. Do you want to address this about the pool? Like, what are we doing, or is it still up for discussion as we form this committee?
The pool is, in one of the scenarios, a new pool is constructed.
And until then, they will maintain.
Its budget is $8 million.
Okay.
There is also a renovation, I thought 3 or 4 years out, for a renovation of the pool of $2.1 million.
Until then, we continue to maintain it. We'll just continue to maintain it, yeah. For Ms. Steffi, probably, right, as we look through that spreadsheet of multiple years and Act 1 and all that, what was our assumption about the bond rating? Is it going to stay the same? Or was there an assumption at all? Does it assume to be stay the same? Okay. I think that's all I had to add on. That brings us to our voting section. And Mr. Prokopiak, are there a few things we want to pull out, right, before we do the consent?
Mr. President, I move to table 8C.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of tabling 8C, which is the MOU for PESPA recruitment and retention?
Aye.
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 Anyone against or abstentions? No? Okay, so we have tabling 8C.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the consent agenda 4A to 7D, 7F, 7H to 7QQ, 8A to 8B, 8D to 9A, and 10B to 10E.
I second that.
And just so I'm clear on what is not in there.
Yeah.
7E, which is the budget.
Budget, yep.
7G, which is the tax resolution. 7SS, which is a donation from our board president. And 10A, which is the Morrisville merger vote.
Okay, and we got a second on that. Any comment from anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? No? All right, so should we go to 7E,
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 7E.
the budget?
Second.
Any comment on the budget?
Yes, I think one of the things that we have to look at, I look at the budget as a totality of the circumstances here. And one of the things as we discuss a renovation, and when we talk about renovation, it's renovation and addition to the school. Like, I think people sometimes forget that either concept would revolve going from two schools to one school, and that would involve adding additional new square footage to West if it went that route, or a new high school. But we have a lot of things on our plate, including collective bargaining agreements with our employees in that same time period. And, frankly, there's only so much that we can do, and we had to start looking at those types of things. We had to make sure that we take care of our professionals who work in the school district as well. And that's one of the things I'm worried about is that, even from the preliminary budget to here, it's gone up 0.5% in sort of the expenditures. It was 3.64 when we looked at it last time. Now it's 4.07, and we're going to 4.1. And I think we're sort of putting the cart before the horse. I think we got to look at the plan. Like, for instance, I was looking at North Penn, and North Penn is looking at doing a major renovation or a less major renovation. And they're looking, and they're presenting two options. So they're not making the decision. They're actually going to option 2. I think their option 1 is a $400 million renovation/addition, which they're going to take to referendum. And option 2 is they're going to, if that doesn't pass, they're going to go to option 2, which is still $200 and something million. So again, I think we have to look at it that way. I think we can't get farsighted, and I think we're putting the cart before the horse in terms of raising taxes to the max on this. I mean, it's a tough year for a lot of people. And, we have various people here who live in various circumstances, including seniors and that type of stuff. And these tax raises, without having a clear plan, I think are, it can hurt some people. And I think we have to look at that type of stuff while also making sure that we provide the education we need. And that's why I'm concerned about this budget. Not because budget projections are budget projections and that type of stuff. And, I think that our numbers, frankly, are a little light on type of some of our things. And I think that's going to lead to higher taxes longer than we're even proposing. And so I think we need to really look at everything, and that's why I'm going to be voting no.
Okay. Any other board comment on the budget?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote on this.
Dr. Delwich?
No.
Ms. Polsky?
Yes.
Mr. Prokopiak?
No.
Mr. Sanderson?
Yes.
Dr. Steer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Waldorf?
Yes.
Mr. Kanan?
Yes. It's good. 6.
With a vote of 6-2, the motion passes.
Okay,
I'd
thank
like
you.
to make a motion to approve item 7G.
It's a tax resolution.
Second.
Okay, any comment on this?
Like was very briefly, I believe that a tax increase is warranted, but I don't think we need to go all the way to the 4.1.
I think it's roll call.
Any other comment? Do we need a roll call on this?
Dr. Delwich?
No.
Ms. Polsky?
Yes.
Mr. Prokopiak?
No.
Mr. Sanderson?
Yes.
Dr. Steer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Waldorf?
Yes.
Mr. Kanan?
Yes.
With a vote of 6-2, the motion passes.
Thank
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve item 7SS.
Second.
Any comment on this? This is a donation.
Thank you.
This is your donation.
My donation.
Just
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
clarify,
will.
you're going to
Yeah, yeah.
recuse yourself from this vote.
I will.
Just want to state it publicly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Karen,
all
for-
in favor of this?
Thank you for your donation.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the donation? And I will abstain from this donation. All right. Thank you. So the last one, there's just one left about the Morrisville one.
So I move that we vote on 10A.
Second.
And I'll start off by saying I'll be abstaining. I own a property in Morrisville, and I do not believe it to be ethical to vote on this.
And this motion is to, somebody want to say this? This is to
Move that
cease-
the board direct its proper officers to cease exploration of a merger or tuition agreement with the Morrisville Borough School District at this time, so that the district can focus on other priorities, including proposed high school project. The district will offer collaborative services to assist Morrisville as appropriate.
Okay, any comment on this? Let's do a roll call on this too.
Dr. Delwich?
So yes to ceasing.
Ms. Polsky?
I'm not really comfortable with either one, frankly. I would say no.
Mr. Prokopiak?
Yes.
Mr. Sanderson?
Yes.
Dr. Steer?
A qualified yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Abstain.
Abstained. Mr. Waldorf?
I'm concerned about the handcuffing our ability to, if there was, in terms of the cooperative or collaborative services, the tuition. So the way it's written, I would have to vote no.
Mr. Kanad?
Yes.
Vote of 5-2, the motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. That brings us to just a quick information. I said in the beginning, we will have a public meeting in July. I think we're saying July 13th, and we'll advertise that.
Yep, it's advertised.
It's advertised? Okay, great. Any other board discussion comment?
Yeah, a couple items. I think one of the things, our current public policy comment allows everyone pretty much to speak about anything. I think our current policy, correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Solicitor, our policy does not allow us to moderate anyone's topic of discussion. Is that correct?
I believe you're probably referring to the public comment we heard tonight, perhaps. But yes, generally speaking, I could say, at least since I've been here, there hasn't been a topic that would be appropriate for us to ask someone to stop speaking entirely.
I believe our previous public policy, policy, which is the PSAT's approved public policy comment, is much more restrictive in moderating topics of discussion to school topics. And I believe that was a topic in the federal lawsuit, correct me if I'm wrong, and that we determined in order to alleviate any future issues, we removed that type of moderation ability from our policy.
Yeah, various public comment policies limit it to relevant topics, to agenda items, non-agenda items, school-based topics, that type of thing. Your policy doesn't have that expressly listed, and in conformity with the decision, the injunction decision in the First Amendment case that Pennsbury recently participated in, the basis to stop public comment generally would be obscenity is the basic standard, as well as threats.
So I just want to make sure, like, we're not, our policy doesn't allow us, absent obscenities and that limited circumstances, of really jumping in and moderating anyone's First Amendment rights to speak. And so that, that was a direct result of the lawsuit that those things were taken out. Many other policies in many other school districts don't allow them to do that, but we don't. That has not been the policy here, and it's because of that lawsuit. It is a bare bones, basically, like, as long as you aren't, being overly disruptive, I think, or obscenities or that type of stuff. Otherwise, you're allowed to speak on whatever it is. And, this is America. We let everyone speak. We may not agree with them all the time or disagree with all the time. But it is their right to come and speak in terms of a public comment. And so I'm not going, it is our not job, and I will not condemn anyone that comes up here and speaks, about their opinion, which may be different than other people's opinion. That's their right as an American. And, so I'm not going to step in and sit there and tell people, no, you can't say that, because, at the end of the day, if we want to clarify what someone says, that's fine. But, ultimately, we don't have the right to cut people off, because that is exactly what the lawsuit was about, was people being cut off and told they couldn't speak and that type of stuff. And that is something we're trying to avoid. In terms of, like I said, as we have these discussions about the renovation / addition, I think one of the things we have to look at is cost and that type of stuff, and look at all these types of things, really bear down numbers, because obviously, like I said, we're going to have, those aren't going to be the only costs that we have in the coming years. We're going to, collective bargaining is never easy. It's never easy just dealing with, making sure that, they believe what they'll believe and we'll believe what we'll believe, and, obviously working together to create a professional, they are making sure our employees are happy and feel valued is just as important. It's also important, I think everyone agrees, that we have to do something with regard to the high school. East hasn't been touched since, the 60s, since it was built? 97. But at the end of the day, in no plan are we talking about renovating East. I believe that in every plan that's been proposed, East is going to go away. So so we had to take East out of the equation, if you will, because there's no way that, there's been no option where we're going to renovate East. That isn't, I haven't heard it. I don't think anyone on the board has told me that that's what they're intending to do. So when we talk about East, understand that that is sort of a moot point. And so we have to look at that. A couple of things. One, as we talk, I'd like to, if we're going to do, I'm assuming if we're going to do the pool, a new pool is both of these, then there would be a demolition cost involved. I don't see those in any of the numbers, and certainly that would be a number that would increase those. They have a demolition for East and demo. It's a separate school, so I'm assuming that's in a different thing. So I'd like to see those numbers included in here. And there's some other things in here. I understand their projections, and we're trying to go on what's best, but I would just ask us to make sure that we're working, that we have to come up with the best product we can at the cheapest price. And with that, other than that, I just want to, thank you, Dr. Smith, for explaining that, the equity program is a group project. It is not one person that is responsible for it here. And, I think that, when you have a team approach there, both the blame and the credit have to be spread around. And, I don't think that anyone should get all the blame, and anyone, just like no one should get all the credit. Thank you.
Any other board comment?
Madam Solicitor, can I ask you, is there any regulation, code, policy that would restrict any board member from having a friend who lives within the district?
No.
Thank you.
Public comment is concluded, so please don't call out from the audience.
You don't get to speak. You're a vendor.
All right. So
Mr. Daly?
What happens if it's defamatory? The school district could be sued. Should you stop?
Mr. Daly?
Answer that question. You work for me, ma'am. My taxes pay your fees. And you don't have a right to speak unless TR says you can.
All right. Any other board?
Can we cut the video of the meeting?
You will get a
It's
lawsuit.
any other board discussion?
Not for me.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Aye.